I mean, I think I always talk about this movie is the first time we ever think about reality as a whole was The Matrix, which was that film that made the society as a general start questioning reality.
Mm.
I mean, as a simulation or not simulation, but the concepts of reality were really truly not questioned in a mass way prior to that movie. Is that a fair statement?
I suppose so.
Yeah,
I didn't see it. I tried to. I fell asleep. It was on TV.
fair enough.
But and that's not to knock the movie. It's just my attention span. And I have friends it's like their favorite movies, so I'm
Sure.
not really not dismissing it. Um, my understanding that reality wasn't what I thought it was happened when I began to think that maybe there was something like God, which was not part of the reality that I had experienced or known. And if you think of being in a world where there is such a thing and there is not such a thing, they're like being on two different planets, really. It's a totally different way of being an experience. And I'm not talking about religion because I'm not religious.
Mhm.
Truthfully, I don't, I'm not good at that. So that's how that shifted for me, because I began to think that if there is something like God or whatever that is, nothing is the way that I thought it was. And that just blew my mind. I was 25.
Oh God.
I was a year out of Yale. I was sober. Everybody I knew was dying around me. It was the AIDS epidemic. It was an awful, crazy time. But suddenly I was opening up to a very different world. And that was hard. And it wasn't easy. And it wasn't sweetness and light and rainbows and crystals. It was none of that. It was like, what the hell is this? Because once you begin to be able to feel energy, everything changes. You've got a tangible experience that there is more than what is seen. And that flipped my world upside down. I didn't expect it to happen. And it was very exciting, but it also meant things were not as I had been taught or told. And I do think that that's happening at a larger level, and not all for the best. I think the guides I work with said in this Book of Truth, and this was before the 2016 election, I think.
Hmm.
Right before that, they said a lot in that book, but they said something like, everything that's been buried is about to come to the surface. And they said, if you think it's going to, they said it's going to be like, imagine that your backyard is under an archaeological excavation. Things that were buried 5 days ago and 5,000 years ago, it's all going to come up. And this isn't coming up so that you can point a finger and say, look how terrible. It's coming up because nothing gets healed until it's seen. Nothing gets transformed until it's brought to the light. So what you put in the basement, they said, if you've got a dead body in the basement, eventually it's going to stink up the whole house. So it's all coming up. And they said pretty much expect it to be a messy time. And it has been and continues to be in some ways. But, that's part of it all, I suspect.
To watch the full video, click on the link below. And don't forget to subscribe.